What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the elephant in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Market room, Satellar Constellar buyouts. Now, they got new support and everything's going up for these decks. You have a lot of fan favorite feelings about these, but if you came in from Master Duel, you might be scratching your head. You've never played against this. This is from the triangle that is Satellar Knight versus Burning Abyss versus Shadows. A very, very huge format for duelists that they love to remember, and there's so many member berries with this because this was the easiest deck to play. A lot of people were actually losing their heads over how to play Shadows back in the day. Now we look at tier, chain link 17, crazy, milling, oh my gosh, how are we stacking the next move? Yeah, this was the easy thing to play versus, okay, I go Squamata, and then what? But you see the Searcher Deneb getting bought out, Altair, which is the Reviver, getting bought out, and in the Constellar department, a ton of the dual terminal cards are getting bought out. Now, I'm not a huge fan of DT buyouts. They usually have slower sales rates on the after end, and when the support finally gets here, yeah, people will buy back in, including the people who already bought in the first time because they had a lower price point and they want to try to seem like there's hype there. So a lot of twisted things happen when it comes to DT, and then they usually level off when the hype dies off. Now, this did get help from the ban list, which obviously also knew that you would want to be playing into some of these cards, and then you have fan favorites. Again, this actually slammed an ARG back in the day, like Constellar Kaus. Now, I talked to my resident Constellar Satellar expert, the person who was still on this deck, Master Dinner Flax, about some of his picks, and we'll get into those in a second. First, my ground and pound research went to the end of, what's this deck actually going to be doing? Rank 4 is one of the bases of the deck, and I see that Dugares is actually bought out for its OG Ultra Rare. It was spiking up here, and now the lowest on the market around $9-10 over here, going pretty crazy for the OG Ultra. It has another one out of Ghost from the Past 2, and it is a bit cheaper, around I think $4 or $5 right now, which is up for this card. It's towards its maximum in price history, and this is one of those cards Konami doesn't love the thought of reprinting. Degenerate, draw card from extra deck. In fact, they probably considered maybe this should be banned at some point in terms of an enabler in their heads. So it has been reprinted once already. It could be reprinted again before they cash in, or it's one of those ones they want to leave to hang out to dry. But Dugaris, very interesting. It's going, and Plan B, Baguska, you just put it out and hope they can't do anything. Its Advent Calendar version is almost completely out of quantities. Battles of Legend version up there, going out of quantities. OG from Circuit Break, market price $3 and only 33 listings, and even the maximum gold Eldorado, ultra rare without the foiling gold letter name, is at 43 total listings and a market price of $2. So if Baguska doesn't get a reprint at some point, it is kind of that casual to lean back on card to begin with, and casual doesn't mean broken, they just want access to it, but when it actually plays into the metagame also, it's a pretty big splash that it can make. The elephant in the room. Nope, that's a tired tap here. Next up, we do have the picks around to look at for Constellar Tellers, and I do see the DT version of Share is completely gone here. Whenever it's normal summon, you get to search, but it only has its 2 printings. The super rare readily available right now, so you might want to get that sooner than later using my TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying if you're truly interested in the deck and the mix of the deck. When it's normal summon, you get to add a Constellar monster, but that's only when it's normal. Here, this would just seem better, right? Zube. It is when this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Constellar monster from your deck to your hand. It's level 5, but it's still one to watch. It's one you can combo with, and it does have a secret rare out of Hidden Arsenal 7, and again, these only 2 printings. Konami knew what it did with the ban list again and trying to sell cards as they go into the new support, and then people reach back. But this did get newer support in Blazing Vortex, and you can even see the super rare. Well, oh no, the graph is up towards 15 cents. People are starting to grab the newer Constellar supports that will be played within the decks, such as Kadu. I'm not saying the whole names. I'm going to just murder them. I'm sorry, astrology fans. I'm not versed in the stars. And then you have the OG Deltaros. Now there's also Trevere and other cards. It's going to be really hard to build your extra decks, even if you're sticking to mostly XCs. But Deltaros, again, one to watch. And I could have sworn that Skybridge had a super rare. I'm making it up in my head. I really thought a super rare of this existed. Like, I could swear I've played it before. But it has the Mega Pack version when I search it, and the Duelist Alliance here. And the Mega Pack version is getting bought out, which is funny because the OG, first ed original, would be the nicest version, but for rares and commons, it's often easier to make a mega pack version disappear and try to get people to stampede. It's still a pretty cool option. It's one that wasn't always played back in the day, but I really did respect it. Now, let's talk about Trap Deck. The Labyrinths are going even lower on quantities and further up in price. When I'm looking at Ariana, 26 listings left, it continues to go up. People only play one Ariane, I believe, in most of the builds that I've seen. And then Welcome Labyrinth also doing the huge lifting. I think this is getting a popularity boost, unironically, due to Master Duel. A lot of people trying out this deck, looking at it, waifu bait, and people are unironically going to buy into something they enjoy if they can play it and actually compete. This deck, even though it's not going to win all the time, can compete, especially at the local level and the regional level as well. So something to pay attention to. Also, cards that might be played alongside. I was looking up Dogmatica Punishment, and the common as well as the super don't have the most listings in the world. The secret rare is out of the 2021 10, so thirsty for value that it would replenish itself relatively quickly, I would think, on buyout mode, but it's the nicest version, and it's kind of only $1 more than the super. I'd probably go Prismatic Secret Rare myself, although a super out of a tournament pack, never a terrible buy. And with only 3 printings, if this doesn't get a reprint at some point down the line, I could see this card going up over time for sure. Now, I did see that Punk Foxy Tune is going up for the collector rare and kind of on buyout mode here. There's only like one cheaper one here below 40 before it's $50+ very quickly. And I think it's bonus bucks back day, along with people looking through what they might want for the Nationals metagame. Because in Grand Creators, I also saw that Rite of Amasir is starting to go up a little bit, and I don't know why my scroller has frozen here. No, live content and editing done cheap. There we go. But Rite of Amasir, you see it coming back down actually, and now the collector rare, it's back up. 110, 115 are the lowest, and then this version as well, it's actually starting to turn up a little bit here, back towards that solid $30, $31. So people are buying Rite of Amasirs, and I've heard that the Kashira, I always murder that name, rank 7 deck. It's so hard to keep up with all the names when you're a Yu-Gi tuber, do forgive. But the rank 7 deck actually has versions that play the Adventurer token engine within it, and people are looking that up to a degree, it seems. Monkey Board super rares are up in price and on buyout mode, and the common's the only other version, and it's actually closing in on being a not bulk, like you pick it out of bulk. I always have, but interesting that it's gaining price. And then you have Skull Crobat Joker super rare from OTS, also kind of on a curve up. Remember, there's another super out of Pendulum Evolution, but it too is bought out to a degree. It got another common out of OTS 19 though, as it's no longer on the ban list. Monkey Board's at 1, so people looking at Pendulums around. I don't know if it's for past format or current or what people are doing with this, but be aware Pendulums are on buyout mode. I was looking through recent sets and Battles of Legend. These Starlight Spikes have really stuck to a degree. Access code Talker here is near a pretty solid $600 card. Zero feedback, one person selling, before it's $585 and then up towards pretty much $600. And Exodia is trying to stick the landing around 500 plus 540s and very, very few listings. And the thing is, unless people bust these boxes open, these aren't going to replenish themselves, and there's 10 different Starlights, and you're looking at almost a 1 per case average with, 1 out of 10 cases in the US missing a Starlight, and it being even harder in the EU. So, the boxes are starting to slowly go back up here. It looks like bonus bucks back day. People started to go in on these. They were down to 52. Now the average is 58, and those are the lowest listing. So, it seems like people are actually looking at this like, this set's not so bad. A lot of mid value. You have access code Talker on the top, a lot of good $5+ cards, but the set itself, chasing the Starlights, not really worth it to rip open when you're looking at the math, because you gotta hit an Exodia or an access code Talker out of your case to try to plus. If you hit any other Starlight, you're not feeling too hot with it. But let me know in the comment section down below if you kind of changed your tune on this, like you think it will age really well, or do you think it's still going to just fall out from here? It's just bonus bucks hype. More people will be listing their versions of Crystal Revenge on here. And then I wanted to look at Magnemite because this card is up towards its highest price period, you know, 18.50. It's been swirling 18 for a while, but we're in the cold winter market where usually the meta cards chill out. This is a super rare out of Darkwing Blast, so easier to pull, and this card is a mainstay in competition right now, and it's sticking $18. So I wanted to ask the question, after the cool winter market, considering how this card has stayed, what do you think this will be worth around Nationals time if the top decks are still the top decks heading into them? It might be something you want to consider getting, or maybe it sees an early reprint in a spring reprint set or something like that. We still don't have one announced besides Maze. We don't know if Maze is taking the place of the spring reprint set or if it'll get pushed back again, maybe towards May, but I could see this one maybe getting it a little early as an upgrade into the season, but at the same time, if it doesn't, I wonder what heights it could reach. I don't think it'll be like the Draco Slayer $50 Luster Pendulum price, but I could see it being a $30 card if we don't get a reprint before that. But again, that's all speculation. The decks could change. Something else, a factor like a reprint could happen, but let me know what you think it'll be at Nationals. Do you think we get that reprint, or do you think it coasts and it continues to go up? Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. And I'm really kind of digging where the market's at right now because there's so many deals to be had among the prices that are rising or are expensive. And for a metagame, it's actually relatively cheap, even though you have pieces like this being so much. I do think it's a pretty good balance, but we're in that chilly winter market. So we'll see where we're at around February or March.